Bennington. The Bennington Show.
Well, my mind is going through them changes. I feel just like committing a crime. Every time you see me going somewhere, I know I'm going out of my mind, yeah. Oh, my baby, she left me the other day, and we were having a lot of fun. Oh, she know I just love her so, and that's the reason why she had to run. So right, you know what I mean? So right, what I said.
Yeah, buddies. It's Thursday. We're the Bennington Show, the only father-daughter radio show in the history of radio. I'm Gail Bennington.
I'm Ron Bennington, and I just wanted to say to Earl that I know this is your special day, and I hope you enjoy it very much. I don't know how Earl figures out that it's Single Awareness Day.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
It's
It's interesting. It was right after Valentine's Day, just to pep them back up.
Yeah, get them back on their feet. I remember Fez's biggest thing that single people called in and backed him up on is that when they're asked to move their airline seat. And I was like, what? And I had no idea. I've flown single many times. If you're flying business, you're going single. I've never been asked to move for another couple. And Fez felt like it happened to him constantly. But just that idea, like, hey, I've picked my seat. I've paid for my seat. These two people bought tickets knowing they weren't sitting together and that they would bother somebody.
I love it because I just imagine it's, excuse me, sir, I noticed you don't have another person in the world, so this will mean nothing to you. Please move.
But also, what is wrong with the couple who feel like they need to be sitting next to each other for 3 hours or else they're not married? You know what I mean?
The only way it would ever make sense to me, and I would imagine it could be justified, is if you were seated apart from your child. You booked your flight last minute and you went, we'll figure it out when we get there. I'm not going to let you sit by yourself. I don't think any couple needs to sit next to each other on a flight. It's not necessary.
I'm gonna also say this. You put your kid in a different part of your plane, that's on you, bad mother. You know what I mean? That's also, your call.
It's a plane. How big is it? I mean, you're, 2 minutes away from the kid at most?
2 minutes.
2 minutes during a crash?
I don't know.
That's a lot of time, Chris, if this baby's going down and that kid's dying alone. All right, it is the Bennington Show. Good news for you, too, Earl. Your two favorite people in the world are going to work together again, and it's Spike and Denzel are going to make a movie. Not even sure what they're doing. You know what I mean? I just hope that in this movie, for a change, Denzel plays a coward. Just somebody who's totally frightened. Do you know what the movie's about, Earl?
Yeah, it's a remake of a Kurosawa film. It's called High and Low, and it's supposed to deal with class and rich people in class, and it's supposed to be... It's considered one of Kurosawa's best films.
Then why remake it if it's so good? Mm-hmm. That always bothers me. Here, you want to remake a film? Make Boatniks, okay? And let's make it really work this time. Let's get those Boatniks out there making even more boat crashes. Why did you remake a classic?
I don't know. I mean,
I'll tell you what it is. This is anti-Japanese.
Yes.
It's like, we're going to take your best work and we're going to make it a little hipper, with Spike and Denzel.
He already did this with Old Boy, the South Korean film, and that was a flop, his remake.
That was Spike?
Yeah.
Spike
did the remake. Yeah, with Josh Brolin.
I don't know why I didn't know that, or I forgot that, and I never watched it.
Forget it.
I don't like remade films that much. I can't think, other than A Star Is Born, which comes out every 3 years, and Spider-Man, which is every 6 months. I don't know why you need to remake. Spider-Man, which is every 6 months. I don't know why you need to remake. All right, Earl, what are the films that they have done together?
They have done He Got Game.
He Got Game was the first one they did together?
Oh, the first one they did together was Malcolm X.
That was their first movie together. Wow.
The first collaboration was Malcolm X.
Yeah.
And they did, they did Mo.
And then Malcolm X, and then what?
He Got Game. And then the last one they did was Inside Man.
All right, let's hear you rank them, Earl, because this is your favorite star and your favorite director together.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going 4 to 1, I'm going number 4 would be.
Yes, we start at the bottom, then we're here. We started at the bottom, now the whole team here.
Number 4 will be He Got Game.
All right, what's your big problem with that? You think it just stinks?
I don't think it stinks. It just.
I mean, it didn't even meddle.
I mean, it's probably the one movie where Denzel is not a likable character at all.
I love him in it.
He's kind of an asshole in this movie. He plays the dad.
I mean, the shit that happened to him too, and then the way that he pushes his kid, it's pretty standard. But I thought it was a very good role for him.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, what do you got for 3?
So number 3 is Mo Better Blues, which I think has gotten better with age. I mean, it wasn't the big hit that everyone thought it would be, but again, he's playing.
Well, I mean, it was a song about a jazz trumpet player in the 1980s or early 90s,
late 80s, early 90s, and again, he's playing a character, not exactly a likable character.
No, you're right.
He's not good to his band. He's juggling, I think, 2 girlfriends in this movie. And not the greatest.
And also, you remember what Spike busted his balls on? Because the love scene with Spike's sister, Denzel wouldn't take his shirt off.
Yeah.
And it became a thing of he thinks he's too chubby. And Spike was just blasting him in the press about his body image stuff. I like Mo Better Blues is actually one of my more favorite Spike movies, only because of this. Nobody else would have made that movie. I mean, that's where, unlike Inside Man, you know what I mean, which is a pretty kind of standard Hollywood movie, Mo Better Blues is a real wow. I didn't think this. And I also remember Spike took some heat for anti-Semitism in that movie because the club owners were crazy Jewish. You know what I mean? Every Jewish stereotype that you could put into the way they talked, the way they thought about money, the whole, you know what I mean, was almost setting up where we are now with the whole Gaza situation, and then blaming that on New York Jewish people.
Yeah, the brothers are played by real life brothers, John and Nick Turturro,
who aren't even Jews.
Yes.
So you got 2 Italian guys doing, these really stereotypical. All right, where did you put that? 3rd?
3rd.
All right.
Yep. My number 2 film is Inside Man, which is, I think, because he's a for-hire director for this movie. That's why it's great. I mean, because
you don't like his writing.
Total. I think Brian Grazer and Ryan Howard hired him to do this very, very good film. Great cast. It's Jodie Foster. It's got Christopher Plummer, Clive Owen.
You're saying they got white people in the movie. That's the important thing. But yeah, this was, I mean, in my opinion, this one was a Hollywood movie, and maybe Spike needed this kind of thing, so he could go back and do his other stuff.
Yeah, he was kind of in a slump. He was kind of in a slump, couldn't get his movies made, and then he just you know what? Brian Grazer was like, hey, I got this project I think would work for you, and he took it, and I think it's still his most successful film.
My big problem with the movie, and it happens over and over, and I don't mean to be mean, but there's something about Clive Owen that it's just Clive Owen all the time. And if you remember, they tried to force feed us Clive Owen.
We got a lot of Clive Owen for a long time.
Yeah.
And then now not so much, right? Like, what's he up to?
Why? Why
We're over
jinx
it?
your project?
Right.
We were never into him. You have one fan who's a friend who said, "I'm the biggest Clive Owen fan that ever lived."
I celebrate his entire body of work.
But I'll also say this, and I think it's a good film, but it's also forgettable because it's that by the numbers kind of film. You know what I mean? The writing, I mean. You just end up you enjoy it and then you forget about it.
Yeah, but again, it's a very enjoyable, like, escapist Hollywood movie.
Yeah, I don't like. That's not what I want from Spike. I got a million guys who do that, and I call on them constantly.
Right.
I want black Scorsese. That's my thing.
Yes.
And I even want that out of Scorsese now.
I don't know.
All
after
right,
this
you're
last
number one. Yeah.
I don't want any Scorsese anymore, I don't
Yeah.
think.
And my number one is Malcolm X. I mean, this is epic filmmaking at its finest. A very good biopic, and Denzel is just he is Malcolm X in this movie.
Well, the funny thing is, wasn't there complaints about Denzel coming in because he was like, they were doing kind of like you're supposed to match skin tones. People were bitching, and I'm like, just wait for the movie. But then the X hat, the two things that ever happened in my life where I thought, oh, this thing is going to be huge because people were into the logo, was Batman back in '89, which was like a famous shirt for like 2 years. And then the X hat,
Yeah.
which everybody was wearing until a couple people started wearing O hats, you know, as kind of a parody.
Was that kind of an all lives matter take? To wear an
Yeah,
hat?
I think it was. I think it was just because somebody else was enjoying something, you know? Like the way I am with the Kelsey brothers right now. I'm just starting to move over before everybody else does.
Mm-hmm. Like if you just had a shirt that said, Frankie, I don't want to relax.
Frankie, only losers relax. And why was that shirt so oversized? Ask Spike that if you have the opportunity.
Yeah, the oversized X shirt was also pretty huge. I hated big shirts. I just didn't like, I didn't like shirts going down to my kneecaps.
You know why? You're a tuck guy. You're never untucked. You're
He
always
does
tucked.
tuck. I
Yeah.
never noticed that before. He's
Me
always tucked.
either. He is
No,
tucked.
he's more spot. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys that the pants kind of go up and down because
Yeah.
the belt, he's big hipped enough that he doesn't even need a belt, but he wears one anywhere.
Do you know that was like an illuminating thing for me that it took me so long to realize that men wear belts because they don't have hips and ass.
Right.
Like their pants are falling down when they don't wear belts. I'm like, why are, like these young men, like why are their pants so saggy and why is it? And then all, adult men will wear a belt. Oh, because your pants would fall down. You have nothing grips it. Nothing.
No, there's a lot of guys that'll wear a belt right up to their nipples, and that's because they know it's coming down. So this gives them just a little extra time,
Right.
before it finally becomes the danger zone. Rudy Giuliani is one of the kind of fatter guys who wears his belt that high, and it's difficult to see sometimes that his top pocket is tucked in under his belt.
And like the thing is too is like for men when they gain weight, they're getting belly weight. So that's putting pressure now on the pants and then nothing to stop it. No hips, no ass to stop
No, nothing, yeah. And of course, every man would rather wear it under his beer gut because when you wear it over the beer gut, it's a big problem.
Well,
Chris Christie does
Doesn't
that.
look good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and,
a very Tweedledee, Tweedledum look. It's hard
Yeah.
not to, make that connection. My third grade teacher wore his pants like that, and I don't think we could think about much else. We went, God, those pants are high up on that gut.
It has a disgusting name, and I can't think of it right now. But it has. Yeah. Do you think you know it, Chris?
Moose knuckle.
No, it's not. Moose
Oh,
knuckle.
God, Chris,
But it
stop
is
that.
like it's a variation off of cunt. Like you've started this thing yourself.
Bunt.
Oh, gunt.
Gunt,
is what
yeah.
they call it.
Yes, the gunt.
Because you've got the gut vagina. So, Earl, your number one is gut vagina?
Weird.
My number one is Malcolm X.
Does everybody agree with Earl's top four?
I think He Got Game should be higher.
I
mostly
agree.
because they shot it at there was a scene shot at Brooklyn Technical High School.
Okay, that's not a reason.
I would say I would go Malcolm X, then He Got Game. Like I'd put it
You
in
would
the
put
second.
it that high?
Yeah.
I think I would. I think I would do the other one a second. I really thought that Denzel as a jazz trumpet player at a time that didn't matter. Now there is a terrible scene in the movie where Denzel does the Earl thing of turning his hat sideways, and he starts to do this really bad slow rap.
Oh God.
I forget what's the song about, Earl?
I think it's called Pop Top 40 or Top something like that. But he's basically making fun of of hip hop and the way hip hop and R&B started to merge together.
At some point, too, he makes fun of Arsenio Hall, and he acts like Arsenio Hall is the lamest thing ever. And people weren't saying that at that time. You know what I mean? He was like the black talk show. He got every black guest. He would sit down and like lean forward with his big long fingers across his face like he was paying so much attention. And it felt like he couldn't be stopped. And then when Johnny Carson retired in the early 90s, he set out this deal that he was going to become number one, and he was going to destroy Jay Leno, and Jay Leno was the coach's kid, and just Arsenio disappeared. I mean, he just got throttled when suddenly he had two of the younger guys against him, Letterman and Leno. And Leno and his producers did a thing like, if you do the other show, you're not getting on our show for 6 months. And it was way dirty pool, and off it went. Now, Gail, I didn't tell you about this. Chris tried to explain this to me yesterday, but there's a Jay Leno story out there that Chris is obsessed with.
Okay.
All right, so this is from an interview excerpt from, I believe, the Los Angeles Times. I'm going to read it to you. Jay Leno. I've lived with 5 women, and every one of them was born on the same day. I can look at a woman and go, September 5th. I don't know why that is. I don't look for a woman born on September 5th. I just wind up attracted to them. Then his wife says, when we met, he asked what my birthday was, and I said September 5th. He started laughing. I remember it so clearly. I said, what? And he said, nothing. And then Jay Leno says, I remember I had Kathy Geiswhite on The Tonight Show, and I said, I'm happily married. Don't take this wrong. I'm attracted to you, but in an odd way. Were you born on or around September 5th? And she said, yes, on September 5th.
I mean,
The hell?
all right. Yeah, like I'm born on September 5th. I think, you know what I mean? I like it. Come on in here. I call them 50s. They're my filthy 50s. I like to, I end up living with them. Now, let's just do this. So he's saying sexual mates, live-in girlfriends, partners, and he's had 5 in his life that were like the serious partner, and all 5 were born on September 5th.
Yes, that's exactly
Now-
what he's saying.
I feel like we all known Jay for a million years now. There's not a lot of surprises. But numerology, this surprises
This is
me.
really strange.
Yeah.
Because beyond that, so right away, I'm like, okay, you like Virgo women, sure. But the exact birthday of September 5th?
Yeah, it's September 5th. I don't like Virgo women. I like September 5th women, you know?
Somebody look up his birthday because I'm just curious. I bet he's
I'm
an
curious,
Earth size.
I even forgot to
Taurus,
tell
maybe?
you, I was with 4
Maybe
guys
an
that were
Aries.
born on September 5th. And believe me, everyone woke up in the morning knowing that they were the champion. You know what I mean? I gave it to them big time. What am I
April
September
20th.
50s? April 20.
So that's
28th.
Taurus.
28th.
That's Taurus, 28th.
A lot of tourists here in L.A. this time of year. Have you
No,
noticed
not
that?
tourist.
Hey, can you tell
Jay.
me what Paramount Studios are? I'm like, nobody.
Okay, so it's almost like it feels like the universe, like he has a soulmate, and the only information he's been given in his mortal brain was that he was supposed to be with someone born on
Right,
this
but-
day. Like why? Like he's supposed to be with someone, and he keeps trying to find the right person
But
subconsciously.
he acts like he doesn't go looking for September 5th. They become that. Now, let's just play the odds. So it's like 1 in 365, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's the odds. But what is that happening again and then again? You know what I mean? It'd be like hitting the lottery with the same number
Right.
over and over and over again.
5
So the
times
odds
in a
of you
row.
being with 5 women in your life and they've all had the same birthday is like probably astronomical odds. You
That is
falling
so-
in love with
Yes.
5 girls the same birthday. Bullshit.
it's
Also-
too weird.
It's actually
It's not
6. 'cause-
bullshit. You gotta think of it this way.
He's a-
You know, I had Mavis. You know, she's going through some stuff right now. Bought her a giant house in Rhode Island. I feel bad about it. You know, I haven't been home much over the years. You know, and I have a lot of affairs. September 5th affairs.
When I first saw this, I was like, is this a joke? Is this not real? So then I looked it up, and it is from an interview in the Los Angeles Times from 10 years ago, and he wasn't joking. Like this is he
Yeah,
was just
this,
like,
back 10 years ago, I remember they came over. And I said, you know, now that I think of it, oh, my girlfriend, the born on September 5th. And I'm like, what's going on with that? You know?
He has a September 5th fetish. I mean,
September girls.
I had an ex-boyfriend who I was with, like a long-term boyfriend. We were together for many years. And then we broke up, and then he married a woman, and she has my same birthday. And I thought that was strange. I thought it was
Is
very
it
weird.
September 5th?
No, it's October 17th.
Too
In fact-
bad. That's a weird number for me. I never go out with the October 17th.
In fact, when he first started dating her, he had posted something on social media about like happy birthday to his girlfriend, and a friend texted me to be like, boy, that's creepy, am I right? Like, you know, like he should be over you by now. And I'm like, no, that's his current. And
He's
she's like,
proven that he never got over you.
I was like, no, that's who he's with now. His same birthday. But this is no September 5th. 5 times, and it sounds like the only serious relationships enough that he would live with them. That's
I mean,
really
it's-
weird.
Yeah, it's basically, if this was, you know, years before, he would have been married 5 times on September 5th, you know, if this was the 1950s.
Right.
he should have a giant September 5th like tattoo on his back. Like it's really it's
Okay,
insane.
this makes no sense.
Don't you think
Let's try to
that's
figure
less-
out the odds, Chris. Let's try to figure out the odds.
You're the betting man. You should
Yeah,
know.
you're the betting man. Go the over-under.
I got a calculator. Hold on.
I mean, you got to get a calculator. What fucking year is this? Use your phone.
Yeah. Get an abacus.
We laughed until we shit the whole night through.
Okay, it's 1 in 6. Hold on, there's a lot of commas here.
1 in 6.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, it's about 1 in 6. You know,
It
except-
isn't, Jay.
I've crunched the numbers. It's
Yeah.
1 in 6.5 trillion. hit
okay.
five.
Trillion?
Thank you. Thank you. Even if you're stupid or wrong.
Yeah, it's trillion.
He was like, million, billion.
Yeah, there's a trillion. You ever see some of these numbers like September 5th? You know, you ever notice that all the beautiful, sexy girls are born on that day? And guess what? I fucked every single one of them.
Oh my gosh. Somebody look up celebrities with September 5th birthday, and we could find
Great.
out maybe who his next one should be.
Oh, because Mavis is having trouble.
Oh, I'm
right
sorry,
now.
and I shouldn't have brought it up, but
know.
it's very
All right,
sad.
Bob Newhart has a September 5th.
Okay,
birthday.
I'm
we're
talking about
going
the
for
women. We
women.
know that he is straight. Please give me not only women, but living women. That's what
You know,
I'm
I
trying
think it's a good-looking guy. If I had to be with a guy, it'd probably be Bob Newhart. You know, he'd have that thing. Hi, Bob. Every time he comes, hi, Bob.
Rose McGowan.
Oh,
she's been through enough.
That's a bit fiery for him.
Yeah.
Not a lot of ladies on this September 5th. A
Because
TikTok
he's
star
dated them
called
all.
Chloe Calandra.
Oh, that Gloria Calendar, the real looker. Have you checked her out before? You know, do you see her on the TikTok? I call it TikTok.
Kat Graham. She's a young actress in her 30s. It's mostly
Kat?
men who are born on September 5th of the celebrity status.
Isn't Kat Graham Toast's Instagram account?
No. Oh, Raquel Welch.
Walk hell. What did you call her?
I called her Raquel Welch.
You know, as I was a kid, I used to jack off thinking about her titties there and be like, oh, Kansas City Bomber, here I come.
Dennis Dugan.
Wow.
Dennis! You and Jay should at
Yeah.
least collaborate romantically.
You know that Dennis Dugan would look good with some lipstick on and maybe a little wig and shape it up a little bit, a little black cocktail dress.
Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog, I never cared for. He was always Dave's friend, you know. For some reason, he went for Dave. I'm like, okay, you can't win them all. I had the same thing happening with Johnny Carlson. I didn't understand it. You know, I only stabbed him in the back and used him. I only went behind his back and took his job, and now he's mad at me. So's Conan. I don't even understand that for a second. Stop whining about it. It's a business. We all got to listen to the boss. There's nothing. When the boss says something, you go and do it. I grew up that way. My dad was a boxer, and he used to say, "Hit them hard, Jay. Hit them hard, even if they're down."
I think you're allowed to do that, Jay.
Michael Keaton.
I like to work on my cars a little bit too. You know what I mean? Like if I'm not banging a girl from September 5th, I like to get under the hood and see what's going on with this Mustang. One of my cars just runs on grapefruit juice, and I'm going to tell you something right now. Yeah, I have to pick up a couple bags of grape juice every time I drive up into the mountains with Mavis. This is a weird story. 1 in 6.7 trillion. Huh? I didn't think I could even count that. I didn't do good in school. They never liked me very much. I used to make fun of my chin a little bit, but you know what they say: big chin, big dick. You know, that's something.
They don't say that.
Well, we got a really great show for you tonight. We got 6 girls here, all born on September 5th. I'm gonna fucking run a batch over each of their faces. See how one of them comes up with the least, they get voted off. That's how it works.
Can't do that on the show, Jay.
Kids say, what was his show that he did like about 6 o'clock at night? He's been doing for the last couple of years, and no one knows it.
The car one or a different one?
No, this is like a game show that like Groucho did it when it was
You Bet Your Life.
You bet your life. All right, we're going to give you a couple of clues right here. The big clue is September 5th. The answer is Jay would fuck her. I'm not one of these sports guys. I never really understand how somebody could sit there and watch a baseball game.
I did not. I've never seen an episode of this game show, like him doing that.
It's really bad.
And I just found out it exists right now.
He brought his band leader with him.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "What do you think of this?" Huh? And the guy never says anything funny back to him.
Ever?
Hey, you and your husband have been married for 20 years. you'll be playing right now. Each clue is worth $2. We don't have a very big budget here, but better what Dave's doing with just interviewing people over and over. Who gives a fuck what everyone's doing? Okay, about what Jay's doing. I'm telling the same jokes from 1987. So 1 in trillions. I swear to God, I'm not calling him a liar, but this sounds like a lie.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, if this were to be true for me, I would be in a constant state of existential crisis. I'd be screaming the Matrix is real. I mean, like, I wouldn't just be like, hey, kind of weird, right? No, like that, those odds are insanity.
Look, I don't think that deeply. You know? I don't even care what happens. I wear the same clothes every day. It's a pair of jeans and a blue work suit. And then I go down to my garage. I have 7,000 cars right now. All of them I bought on September 5th for some reason.
What?
That's your choice.
I only date people that were September 11th. They were in the towers. You know?
Really?
Yeah. Turns me on a little bit.
What?
Hey, don't share this.
Who's the guy from that does all the science stuff that everybody loves?
Neil deGrasse Tyson?
DeGrasse.
Yeah, it's DeGrasse, but
DeGrasse
we
Tyson.
got to try to send this story to him and see if he can,
Tag.
figure out
Yeah.
what the odds are. Because I have a feeling that the 7 trillion that Chris has is going to come down to about a couple dozen.
What? It has to be higher than that.
But the fact that you figured out trillions, show us your work. How did you get to the 7 trillion?
Yeah, explain it.
All right, so this is how I got there. So 1 out of 365, right? So I did
Yeah.
365 to the 5th power. So 365 times 365 times 365, etc. 5 times. So that would
Why
be
wouldn't
all
it be
the-
plus? Why was it
Because-
time 365? Because
I
it's
think
once
that's-
a year. That's addition.
Right.
All right.
Like
I might have to go back to the
because
drawing
each
board.
woman could exist on like any of those 365, but to hit it 5 times,
Yeah, I mean, it's
like
a
the
long
odds
shot.
of it doesn't
Yeah.
even. I couldn't even begin to figure out the mathematics of it.
Well, it's fit. You gotta do this: the 365 to the 5th power. Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta put the powers in there. And Powers Booth is my next guest on the Tonight Show. I know everyone's upset because I came back and I took Conan's job, but believe me, he wasn't getting the numbers, and that's all the network cares about is the numbers, and I deliver. You know, I deliver. All my interviews stink. I don't even see the movie.
Seems like you should though.
Someone told me you got off an airplane, you couldn't find your bag. What happened there? What was that all about? You couldn't. Your bag wasn't at the airport.
Who's this someone? Just your producer.
Yeah, my producer that I work with. Someone told me that when you were on your way here today, I went back and said hi to everybody in the green room. Dave never does that. You know, he just lets people sit in the dark back there. But I like to go back there and rough them up a little bit. You know,
What?
muss their hair up and let them know they're gonna have a good time.
Have you ever heard an interviewer or someone being interviewed reference the fact that there's a pre-interview? Like just literally saying, like, well, in the pre-interview, I told.
That was in the pre-interview. They told me you had a wonderful story about waking up next to a dead girl. What happened? I mean, that doesn't really a problem. What was it? Fentanyl? What, you guys doing fentanyl? I never had a drink in my life because I'm a dull, weird man. I hate anyone who's ever bragged about not trying drinking and drugs.
Just try it.
Right.
It
Just try
offends me.
Trump, right? Trump is one.
Trump
He says
is
he's yeah.
Yeah. And yet he's doing Adderall all fucking day long, you know, because
Yeah.
he gets it
Loves
from
it.
his doctor. Breaking it up and snorting it.
That's drugs, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell him a little bit. I'm a big Trump fan, you know. I love his buildings.
So I've gone to ChatGPT to do the math for me.
Thank
and
God.
It's still working it out. It's
Yes.
still working it out.
Okay.
Oh
Let
my
us know
God.
what the rowboat thinks.
So AI is like taking a while to figure this out. Like AI, who should be instant, is like, hold on, this is nuts.
They're giving me the reasoning behind how they're doing it, or the robot, and I just want the answer. So the answer
Big
is
Brother.
Yeah. What's the answer?
1 in 17 billion, 17.5, 117.5
All right.
billion.
First of all, I would have thought that was tremendous, except for you had the trillion,
Yeah, you
7
threw trillions.
trillion. Now it's 16 billion. And you're like, that's nothing.
Some dodgy math.
1 in 16 billion.
Yeah, 1 in 17.7 billion.
I mean, to me, that seems like, the kind of things that you would hit the lottery back to
Right.
back would be that kind of a number.
Right.
There's something about this story that I feel like Homeland Security should be over there right now trying to
Something
figure this
stinks.
out. Yeah.
Thank you.
Because this is weirder than if you found out that Jay Leno was killing women on the road for the last 4
You're right.
years.
It is weirder than that.
I think he had a kind of little bit of a freak reputation before he got married too.
Really?
Yeah, kind of an S&M thing I had heard before, but I don't
Really?
know whether that's
Whoa.
true. Yeah, big spanker. I love to pull
Was-
their pants down and spank them.
Was he more the S or the M of that?
I think he was the M. You know what I mean? The
Okay.
same way he treats his staff.
The S stood for September 5th, and M.
Oh my God, Chris, you just fucking cracked it.
Okay, that's the answer then. S&M.
We'll be right back. This is Bennington.
Faction Talk 103, it's the Bennington Show! Faction Talk 103, it's the Bennington Show!
Bennington is back, and I wanted to tell you guys about this story I just read that to me sounds like it's already a movie. The premise is so crazy to me. Have you heard about this Julian Assange Dead Man Switch art project? I'm going to put that in quotes, but
What?
performance art / insane concept.
First of all,
The
I
Dead
already
Man
forgot the
Switch.
name Julian Assange until you brought it up. I forgot that he used to be something everyone talked about every day.
All the time.
Okay, so Julian Assange is going to stand trial again soon.
Where?
Or
England?
I believe so, yes. So he will be imprisoned, incarcerated. And so, of course, many people have had the conspiracy theory and fear that he'll be killed in prison before he can stand trial.
Why?
I don't know, I guess just because...
I mean, he's basically been locked in a room for, what, 8 years, 10 years?
more
Yes.
than- yeah, it's
and then
has to be
there wasn't there also like attempts on his life that were thwarted, but they were like worried.
That I never heard.
I know that the CIA was like on his ass trying to get him out of that
Yeah. I mean-
embassy.
I know he doesn't want to come to the United States.
Yes.
Under
No.
any circumstances.
So this artist, Andre Melodikin, something like that. He set up this thing called the Dead Man Switch, where it's going to be in a vault that is timed. That
Oh.
should Julian Assange die in prison, these priceless artworks will be destroyed.
What?
He has a Rembrandt, a Warhol, a couple other like really famous paintings plus a few like contemporary artists.
When were these stolen?
They're not stolen. They've been donated by different groups who are in.
Really?
You know.
Yeah. Well,
so
can I just say this? No one gives a shit. We're living without this art now. You know what I mean? None of us are enjoying this art. All of us seem to be doing okay.
So it's three big names: Picasso, a Rembrandt, and a Warhol. And then a bunch of other ones that contemporary artists said, put mine in there too.
Right.
They're like, nobody really cares about yours. It's more about the Picasso, but sure.
Let's think here. How many Picassos do we have in the world? So many that you can own a Picasso and not be rich.
Yes.
Warhols, forget about it. I mean, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
A lot of them he didn't even paint himself. Julian, just figure out what your defense is. You know what I mean? Try to figure out if you can convince people by sharing secrets, it's for the good of everyone.
Yes.
It doesn't, this thing is nothing. You know what I mean? I thought the dead man switch was going to be if something happened to him, the secrets would go out all over. You know?
Right. That would probably be
most
more
of his secrets don't matter.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously don't matter to most people. It's gotten very quiet about him, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, most of the stuff that he was putting out was like, is that it? You know what I mean? Like,
And it was like tens of thousands of documents, like just crazy dumps of documents, and people like saw a couple of things and like, oh, this is kind of interesting. I think some of the documents, that's where Pizzagate came from. When he
it all became very
Pizzagate
weirdly,
came from that?
it all became very weirdly right wing at some point.
Yeah.
Not that matters whether it's right wing or left wing.
It all connects eventually.
If you think it's okay to share other people's secrets.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't even like the kid who says where Elon Musk's plane is at any
the
given
flight
time.
tracker guy.
Yeah, I don't like that kid. You know what I mean?
They're doing that to Taylor Swift too.
Have you seen that thing about like what they call like the horseshoe theory, that the left wing, as you get like the broadest part is just like the regular left, the regular right, then obviously conservatives meet somewhere.
Yeah.
But then it's more of a horseshoe because the left and the right become very close as far as conspiracies, don't trust government, you know.
Can
like
I tell you something? Sarah, our intern, said something to me. She goes, left wing, right wing, it's all the same bird. You know?
Very true. Very Sarah.
Yeah. And then she said what she pays attention to is the snake. You know what I mean? No wing for is it the head, is it the tail?
Right.
You know? Don't tread on me.
Right. A house divided cannot stand. Wait, that wasn't the snake one.
I've seen a lot of houses that had like the front of it torn off and the rest of the house was standing.
That's true.
impressive.
Thanks.
And also, what about a 2-family home, a 3-family home? I mean, it's divided, and it seems like it
On
stands
purpose.
just fine.
At what point do you become from like a 3-family home to an apartment? Is it 4 families?
This is great because I lived in a very small apartment building in the city, but everyone had their own floor.
Yeah.
So it did kind of feel more like a 4-story house as opposed to an apartment building.
Huh. Well, I will tell you, the government should be on top of this and letting us
Really
know
should be.
which is which and the Twitch.
Yes. And if we don't get answers, we'll have our own dead man switch.
Has Dead Man
And I'll just like put some of my doodles in there.
Yeah.
I just love the story of the other artists who are like, and put mine in as well.
I'll paint something for you right now you can burn up in front of
They're
everybody.
like, yeah, they don't really care. Yeah, but it really helps appreciate the value. They're like, not really. We just care about the big names.
I don't know. I think if you ended up on that list as time went by, you know what I
think
mean? It could
eventually
all
they're
get,
like,
Ooh, he's an Assange Dead Man Switch artist.
But I mean, we do have plenty of Picassos. I mean, this son of a bitch never stopped painting. Okay,
Yeah.
Warhol had literally a factory.
I'm surprised he doesn't have a Basquiat in there because that dude pumped out art.
You know what though?
Real hard, real fast.
Remember in Orlando where they put out a Basquiat thing and there was 48 fake Basquiats?
Yeah.
Because any child can do that.
Right. I always love that Basquiat was like, I can actually draw, I swear. This is just my style.
Then show us once.
He's like, oh, I don't want
Just
to.
once, give me a watercolor. You know what I mean?
Just
Do
a
a
nice
tree.
portrait.
Do a tree. Fez's niece has a better hand than Basquiat.
Yes. I'd like to just see a Basquiat still life. Just a bowl of fruit.
I wonder why the bowl of fruit got so big in the first place. You know what I
great
mean?
question.
Why not a toaster? Why let's see how you do a toaster.
I guess it was just like just how rare it was to have nice fresh fruit. They were just like, oh my god, this is beautiful.
I know,
Whole
but they
bowl
were
of it?
still doing that in the 80s. If you went to art school. I mean, you could go into the supermarket.
I saw something where someone was saying people complain that people post their food on social media, but we've been doing this since
That's
the
really
beginning
funny.
of time.
All right, I got one for you guys, and I think this is important that we all get together and stop this now.
Mm-hmm.
Or get behind it in a big way and make sure it becomes the most successful thing ever. They've added a new casting agent who cast the best that year. So if you're going to do it this year, right? Is it Oppenheimer for having every movie star who's
Right.
ever lived
Has to be, right?
show up for a thing or two? Or is that cheating?
I think a bigger flex, because to me that is just like I got a lot of connections. The
Right.
bigger flex is when you find a lesser known actor who's perfect for a role, or you know somebody
So,
who you're like,
here-
Flower
oh,
Moon.
Yeah, I'm going to give you an example. The movie Diner, right?
Mhm.
5 or 6 leads, all of them became either TV or movie stars. We didn't know
Right.
them at the time. But we didn't know then that it was great casting.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We-
it took years.
We should give
Fame.
Yes, so we're like, let's see how good this casting really was.
So do we start in the 20s and start seeing who... But here's the other thing about casting, right? A lot of times the studio will say, we need a star.
Right.
We're going to call up somebody like a Brad Pitt, and he'll be in it. So the casting director doesn't get credit for that.
Right.
Most of the time, I think the casting directors do the much day parts
Yeah.
or either smaller parts. And again, how do we know that they did such a great job? We're not seeing them up against the other person that could have it.
Here's the thing. The reason, okay, so at first I was like, yeah, we should definitely say because obviously it's a make or break thing if a movie has a great cast. But casting directors never have the final say in who's
100%.
cast. They can only present, they can give their ideas. They're there for the producers and the director to bounce ideas off of, and they'll give their opinions, but they're never the final say.
Occasionally, you'll hear the casting director really fought for me.
Right,
in that
exactly,
role.
yeah.
But how do we know, like, Almost Famous is, like, to me, a perfect cast, right?
Excellent.
All the smaller parts, you know, a guy has one line and he ends up being Cam from Modern Family.
Right.
Mark Maron is driving,
Right.
yelling, you know what I mean? Like, those people
Lock the gates.
stood out to you,
Right.
even though it was very, very small.
Yeah.
All the girls were great. But remember, Penny Lane, the other Penny Lane was fired, and this
Yes.
Penny Lane had to step
in.
up.
Yes.
So is that bad casting from Jump Street?
Right.
You put the wrong person in there.
Could you make the same argument, though, for any role? Like, an editor still works with producers and directors. A director still
Right.
has to deal with the studio. Like, it is, by nature, a collaborative art form, and we
Yeah.
have decided this person's in charge of this role, even if they have to
Right.
run it by a whole committee.
100% of the time.
Yeah.
But we don't know. I mean, editing, you can feel it. You can see, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Casting, you could go, that guy is great. But I wouldn't normally do that for a stars. Like, if anybody's probably miscast a lot, it's stars.
Yes. They get miscast.
Because they're big names.
Yeah. Yeah. Like in Saltburn, the director, so they had cast the handsome kid, right?
Yeah.
The tall handsome kid first. And then she came to him and she was like, I want Timothy Chalamet for this role.
Sure.
And he said, why don't you look at Barry Keoghan? Like, he was like, nah, that's not what you want to do. Like, I get that he's a name and that's going to bring a lot of attention in this movie.
Right.
But I'm telling you, if you want like a creepy weirdo who's going to be like going between these weird lines. Like, you've got to look at Barry, and Barry was better for that role. But there's the director and probably the casting agent going, we need Timothy Chalamet.
Here's the thing. We don't know.
Right.
Chalamet might have been fucking unbelievable. You know what I mean? He might have been phenomenal. We don't know.
Here's like the great example of it is us seeing True West on Broadway.
Yes.
And we saw it in what we probably would have said would be the opposite of the natural role.
Yeah.
So we saw John C. Reilly as the drunk, kind of crazy
Alpha Meg,
alpha. Yeah. And then we saw we saw Philip Seymour Hoffman doing this like opposite, and it was like it worked so well.
But then the next night they switched parts.
They would switch.
Yeah.
So it's
we saw John C. Reilly was the beta.
Right, exactly.
Now here's the thing, and I told this story to John C. Reilly, and he looked at me like, you know what I mean? And then one of his other castmates goes, "Do you go to a lot of plays?" You know what I mean? Like, he thought that, and I said yes, but I don't go to that many. But I felt the need to say it.
Oh, yeah.
It was Al Armisen. It was Fred Armisen, just making it awkward. But the thing was, those two guys were amazing. But the only reason we thought that is because this thing that we saw them before was in Magnolia.
Right.
And Philip Seymour Hoffman was playing very sensitive.
Right.
And
then even if you think about him in Boogie Nights,
he
plays this sensitive, more gentle situation. So we thought it should be the opposite.
Right.
And we were like, kind of like, oh man, I feel like we're here on the wrong night. And then we were in there like, nope, we're here on the absolute perfect night. And Philip Seymour Hoffman was unbelievable.
He was terrifying. And I thought to myself, if that motherfucker comes over here, I'm going to have to defend my family.
He was that aggressive.
Yeah, he was that aggressive.
On the floor.
And I mean, you're only 10 feet away from him. He's screaming and throwing shit. And I'm like, I don't want to, but I'll roll on the fucking floor with this fucking
There
guy.
is a very strange thing with live theater that is almost similar in anxiety feeling, where some people might be nervous that a stand-up is going to talk to them or mess with them.
Yeah.
That like when tense things happen in live theater, it's real person in front of you, and you actually feel in danger. I watched a play in a black box theater downtown, and it was like a post-apocalyptic moment happened, and the lights went out, and you could hear rumbling and screaming, and I was in a full-on panic attack. I was like, we are all in danger in this room.
Yeah.
And then when the lights come out on, I was like, I'm fine, everything's okay.
good.
But I was like, I literally was like, this is bad. They're going to kill us all in here. I don't know why. This is weird art.
When you were younger, but we went to see American Buffalo.
Yes.
And there's a slap in the face. The kid gets slapped in the face very hard. And it was a worse feeling than seeing a murder take place in a movie.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because you're in a room where a person gets hit. Now, I'm going to go back to True West because I have the rights to that play now.
What?
And
You have that?
it's something, somebody owed me some money.
The shepherd is face.
You want to you just want to take the rights to this. And by the way, I only have it for 5 years.
It's pretty good.
So I have to really put this out on the road everywhere.
Okay.
But I'm trying to book this, and this could be great casting. And it's going to be the Kelsey brothers.
Oh,
and
wow.
This is great.
They're both
Right.
drunk, mean brothers.
Yes.
And there is no.
Yeah, there's no gentle writer.
Yeah, there's no gentle writer who stinks at writing. I'm trying to think. The first time I saw that play, it was two people who weren't famous. It was John Malkovich
Yes.
and Gary Sinise.
Yeah.
And I was like, John Malkovich is great. Gary Sinise kind of stinks. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because he didn't get to throw stuff around.
Right.
And I was younger when I saw it. I thought if I was an actor, I would definitely be throwing stuff around.
Oh, that
Not
seems
just
much more
sitting
fun.
there
Yes.
Fucking whining about it.
And you know that you would think that that's like like, oh, that's me not understanding. But most actors are that way. Like, they're like, I want the one where I yell and I throw and maybe I could scream and cry a little, kick around. Like, don't you think I should knock this off the table? Like, they always want to do that. Like, actors want to be that character so bad because it's hard to be the person who is holding back. It's hard to be the person, even with crying. Great acting is like they say, like, the thing to do is to try not to cry because that's what we all do.
Right.
When we're in a situation and is highly emotional, everybody is always going, do not break.
Yeah.
Why are my eyes welling up? And you can cry, but you have to fight it because nobody ever just embraces tears and cries and like beats on their chest. Like,
Only an actor would do that.
Only an actor would do that.
Only an actor would do
Nobody
that.
does
Dating an
that.
actor that he's crying constantly.
Sarah, write this down. This will help you later on in your film career. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Great acting is great listening. Okay?
So true.
You gotta listen.
This is why he has
You know
True
what I
West.
And that's why
I don't know. I think someone owed him money.
when I'm acting, I always do this. So like, just say something to me, and this is the way I react.
Ron, I have some news. We just found out that Chris Stanley is on his way here.
Huh?
Well, I said he's on his way here, and I
Here?
feel like he's going to kill you. He's aggressive and unruly.
What?
I just told you.
Were you saying me?
No, Chris Stanley. He's a mad dog.
Yeah, 'cause
drunk with power.
I didn't think I'd be on my way here. I'm already here.
I feel like you're not listening to me.
Listening the best I can. I have a lot of things on my mind right now. You see, when I was younger, I was abused.
No.
Why are you bringing this up right now?
It just
Your
seems
life's
the
in
right
danger.
time to say it. I was just a kid.
It's
I
not,
was a kid.
it's not your fault.
No, but it is not my fault.
It's not your fault.
I did it to myself.
It's not your fault. Scene.
Scene.
Impressive.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna give myself a note. I could have went bigger on that. What I could have said is I was abused over and over and over again.
There's also there's so many plays where like you get in there and immediately you know it's gonna be like the kind of thing where it's gonna be emotional and someone's
Right.
gonna be screaming and you start looking at the set and you're like, that's gonna get broken. That thing keeps coming up. I know he's gonna smash it because it's important to her. Like there's all these things where you're like, oh, this is all just props for them to have like an emotional wreck.
Here's what I would do if I was a young writer. And Sarah, this would be perfect for you. I know you like to write. I would go to a place where actors do scene works.
Yeah.
And I would just hand them monologues. I wouldn't even try to write a play. I would write
I like
monologues. I would
that's
write
good.
dialogue. And then they would end up doing this in front of producers. And some producer go, what's that from? You know what I mean? And they're like, there's this bright young writer. I mean, he doesn't just write, he listens.
Wow.
Okay? He listens.
This playwright that I know, she was also a writer on oh my god, what's the name of it?
Spanky and our gang?
I can't think of
Little
it.
Rascals?
True Detective.
God, I love.
Close, but not True Detective.
Yeah.
The Martin Short, and they're
Oh,
like-
Midnight at the Oasis.
Midnight at the Oasis.
There's a
she's
murder
writer.
in our building.
So she's only murders in the building. She's a writer on that, but she's also a playwright. I remember once she said that one of the worst things you can do, in her opinion, is write a piece where there needs to be a body of water on stage.
Yeah.
Because she says as soon as she sits down and sees it, she's distracted the whole play. And she's going, someone's going in that water. Like, it's just a little puddle there. And she's just like, and then she starts thinking, because it's so physical and tangible. And you're like, are we going to get splashed? Is that person going to drown and die? Probably. Then she says, she starts thinking things like, what's the temperature? Are they keeping it warm enough for the actor? I know they're going in there. And she's like, there's something about water on stage. Just don't do it. It's just too distracting.
Yeah, I can see that. What I try to do in my work is grab the audience immediately. Okay?
I love that.
Immediately, I have them in the pump. What's going on, they think.
Yeah.
So as the curtain opens, the entire cast on stage masturbating.
That's great.
And believe me when I tell you, I got him.
Yeah.
You know what I like about this? Because people will laugh. It's an uncomfortable moment. Well,
I might join in.
Just a whole stage full of wieners, I think, is probably going to make someone chuckle.
Okay.
But I think this is a good idea
okay.
because I also noticed in live theater that you should never put anything truly dramatic in like the first 15 minutes. Because it will get an uncomfortable laugh because everyone's still so unsettled by the weirdness. So you don't want someone to die. You don't want someone to, like have a breakdown. You can't. You haven't earned an emotional response like that. So put some light humor in the beginning of your play because people are going to be chuckling anyway. It's going to be an easy laugh for you.
Here's the thing I hate in most plays open like this. One person on stage, you see the whole set.
Right.
And it's like, Carol! Carol! We've got to leave here in 10 minutes. You're just like, what the fuck am I doing here? I've got to get out of this room. I've got to get out of this room. This is the fakest looking thing I've ever seen.
I know, it takes a while. It's an uncomfortable transition into just sitting in a seat and the lights going down, and then you start looking at the exits where you're like, is it awkward if I get up? Like I feel like everyone's gonna look at
I
it.
just go.
It's so uncomfortable.
Sometimes I'll yell fuck this and then I leave.
Yeah, good. Let them know.
Also, like the same, like if the costumes are just too muchery and you're just like, this is gonna be silly.
Yeah.
Just coming out there with a big old petticoat and you're like, I feel like I can't. I'm not gonna be able to connect to this.
I just like when there's an older person on stage and they're like, things move pretty slow down here on the bayou.
You're like, oh no.
I'm crawling out of here. I'm down on my hands and knees crawling.
It's a hot day today, wouldn't you say? Just like a southern accent that no one has.
Damn these mosquitoes.
The best to me was in Waiting for Guffman, and I think it's actually a deleted scene.
Yeah.
One of the numbers that they cut was like this raging river or whatever.
Yeah.
So she's just like both of the women in that movie are just so incredible. So they have a scene together, and she's just like, the flood is coming. And like this is the same town. This is Blaine, and no one's had a southern accent this whole time. So then she's just like, the river looks angry, mama. Then you see the river, and then she goes, yes, I see it. You're like, what the hell, dude? Out of nowhere. And then she's just like, hush, child, hush. And you're like, whoa, dude, where did this come from?
I love that because they're making fun of their own business.
Yes.
They do another thing where Chris and somebody else are kids, and they're like, they have a ball, but they're so bad with it. And it's true. I don't know why they give theater children a ball, because a kid who can dribble a basketball is not going to theater practice.
Dude, you could even find that in movies, and I need to see like a super cut of just like an actor holding a bat wrong. Like,
Chris!
We need to find
Love it.
all the worst sports moments that are so unbelievable.
Remember the Prince of Tides? When Nick Nolte was in charge of teaching Barbara Streisand's kid football, one-on-one football, and you're like, if you just did basketball, it would make sense,
right?
You know.
There's a scene in Searching for Bobby Fischer. Ben Kingsley's like the chess guy. He's searching. And he's like, there's a montage where he's like bonding with the kid, and the way he throws a fucking baseball is one of the most cringiest. I'll find it. This will be part of the supercut because
I can't wait for the supercut.
Fucking bad.
All right, so there's a movie called Fear Strikes Out, and it's about this ball player that, went through Gary Goldman's problems, right?
Sure.
And the person playing him is Tony Perkins from Psycho. And Tony Perkins had never seen a baseball before this. And it's just, you can't focus on anything else.
Just takes you out of everything.
This guy is going...
Reminded me of In the Room. the movie The Room.
Oh, yeah.
They have a football between 3 adult men, and then they're just kind of passing it back and forth. Like, no one does this. This is so strange.
Just underhand. Standing 3 feet away from each other.
Like, so close.
Yeah. Like,
get it. You. Now it's your turn. Like, that's not a thing adults do.
That's how I have a catch with Frankie. I just try to bounce it off her chest and have it fall down in her hand.
Have you guys ever had a caricature drawn of you?
Never in a million years would I say, look, I want you to look at me and then decide for yourself what is my least. First of all, I know I don't have giant ears, so I don't know why you're drawing that. You know what I mean? I have very small ears.
I don't understand how people willingly choose to do this. I see it on TikTok. Like, there's all these character artists who will, they're at tourist spots. People sit down for them. Then they do the big reveal, and they are the cruelest, harshest things I have ever seen. And I went, there's no way that I would be comfortable with that. No way. And if I was laughing, I'd be crying on the inside. I would just be like, everyone else is laughing. I guess I'll laugh too. But I'll be thinking of it for years to come.
Here's what they do on TikTok. They find 3 ladies having lunch, right? They do the caricature. And then one of them has these enormous slutty tits. You know what I mean?
They love to do that.
All the ladies. Whoever has the slightly bigger running out on the mound to kiss Pete Rose.
And like, here's the thing that I think will really mess you up. Let's say you have an insecurity and you're like, okay, I've agreed to do this and they're definitely going to make my crooked teeth. I mean, my teeth are going to look ridiculous, right? And then they turn it around and yes, your teeth are crooked, but they're also like, and your giant forehead. Something that you didn't realize everybody else noticed. Like, a lot of people are like, I didn't realize I have a hook nose, but thanks for letting me know.
Now, here's what they're going to do. They draw that, and then you reach into your pocket and give them cash.
Yeah.
For showing you how hideous you are.
Yeah, something that you'll be working in therapy out for like the rest of existence. You're going to be calling BetterHelp. Exactly.
Yeah. BetterHelp. Listen, somebody drew a picture of me. And I have Mr. Spock ears, and I didn't want that.
I guess we should start off with, Ron, why
held me much. I never got to go to museums, and I thought it would be like getting a hug in a museum. I wouldn't even let somebody just do a portrait of me, like a talented person.
No. I mean, Chris just dealt with it on a massive scale, I suppose.
I've had a number of uncommissioned caricatures made of me. People just see a picture and just emphasize the fatness, and it doesn't feel good, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember this. Oh, God, I can't believe I forgot this. But when the Ron and Ron show was big in Tampa, we get a call from the old Tampa Tribune that they wanted to do like a one thing like comic strip, just one single thing, and it would be the same thing every day, and then one of our jokes would go underneath of it, right? So, this is when people were asking us to do a lot of stuff, so we're like, yeah, okay. And then we get this character, and my partner was a weightlifter, right? So they had his shoulder and arms real big, but then he had these like fucking bird legs coming down, right? And his weightlifting friends always used to say to him, "Did you miss leg day?" You know what I mean? He could not get, he was a tall guy. And then me, I was sitting on a chair with just my feet barely coming off the chair, and both my toes were pointed at each other as if my legs don't work at all. So,
like a little boy.
But like a little boy that you would raise money for. You know what I mean? Like this boy was not going to grow, right?
Yeah.
So me and Fez and Fast Daddy were laughing, going, "Why would we want this?" And then my partner just starts ripping up the fucking page, right? He's not even saying anything. He's just ripping it up. So that ended our chance to have a comic strip.
I get it.
How's it? The guy. And here's the thing: the guy was a fan. He was like, And he was like a huge fan. You guys are hilarious. And we could do this thing. You won't have to do anything. We'll just copy down something funny from the show. And, you're done. And I'm like, first of all, you're not going to get anything in the paper. And the papers already hate us, bad boys of fucking shock jock radio.
The caricature artist is underrated as a bad person who just can
No. Yeah.
destroy people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't even make sense. I'm sitting in a chair now with my feet comfortably on the ground.
Me, not so much. So I can't imagine what he would do to me.
Dude, we have a picture of Juju and Frankie where it's almost the same thing. Like, Juju looks like she's just a butt with two shoes in front of her, sitting on this big chair. Oh, Frankie,
Yeah.
And it's just so funny. And we have that picture hanging up, and I'm like, that picture is going to come down as soon as she figures out.
and Juju's legs look so long compared to hers.
Juju is unbelievably tiny with really long legs.
It's true. Yeah. She has very different proportions than me. So Frankie got whatever I have. Just very small leg area.
Now, by the way, I can't get this out of my head. I kept thinking about when Russ Rollins came in the other day, and then he said, when we talked about you never get a goose or anything, and then he said he brought up the topic, and he says all these rednecks say that they just go down to the Florida retention pond and basically kill a goose with an aluminum bat. Pluck it and eat it. And that's not the kind of geese that we eat.
No, just something that's been also it just makes you more conscious of the idea of just that thing waiting in polluted water too.
Waiting in polluted water, and any pond that has geese like that, geese that don't go north for the winter and all, you know what I mean? They are just walking around in that goose shit. Whatever, you know what I mean? There's this constant goose shit.
It's a step up from roadkill, killing one of them geese.
Not that far of a step either, Chris. I'm going to be honest
barely.
with you. I agree with you that it's above roadkill, but not so far.
Also, look, I there's not an animal I think I could comfortably kill without it mentally destroying me, but a goose seems brutal. I just feel like it's just so big.
Well, it's that fucking everything about them is gross. A lot of times a goose will attack you. Too.
Yeah, they're mean.
You'd have to go for the head first, because if you go for a body shot, it's just gonna just make too much noise.
Chris, I know that you are oftentimes amazed by nature and not knowing basic facts.
Oh, yeah.
But have you ever, because the birds, for some reason, confuse you. Have you ever seen inside of a goose's mouth, inside the bill?
No.
It's just rows of what look like razor blade edges. It's not teeth, but it is so
sharp bill.
Gross. Yeah, it's inside is just horrific serrated teeth-like things.
Oh my God.
It's pretty gross, right?
Yeah, it's bad.
So when they hiss at you, it's very aggressive.
That's terrifying.
It's even on the tongue, it looks like.
Yeah, those
they
are down the
almost have
tongue.
little T-Rex teeth on the tongue.
Well, they need all that to eat bread that people
That's how they mash up their breads.
By the way, nature is ugly as F. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's scary.
Yeah. And it's so cruel. My kids love animals, so anytime that there's an ad for any kind of nature documentary, I'm like, I'm going to have to pre-watch this, because some of my most traumatic moments as a child were watching things be eaten in nature documentaries. You're following the bunny. You're excited about the bunny. That's the fox's food.
Watching an elephant go down, that's traumatizing.
My dream is to kill a panda one day.
What?
Panda?
Yeah, I fucking hate them.
They are
Why?
mean.
They're always
mean?
rolling around, and they're trying to rip off teddy bears.
They refuse
So-
to have sex.
on my bucket list. I think they have sex, but their little dicks are so tiny that it doesn't. When they come, it doesn't get all the way inside.
Oh, it's so sad.
Well, I think they're also shy. You know, they're not voyeurs, so they don't like to do it in captivity.
Oh.
So, you know, they get stage fright, and that's why they have trouble with the zoo pandas.
What's the deal with horses, though? Because you ever see people that, like, raise horses, they have to fucking have steps and they
Harnesses.
help it out. They take
Yeah.
You're an animal. You're a mammal on this planet. You know? I mean, we can't stop having Chinese people, you know? And yet you guys need help?
Yeah, they need a lot.
What would you do without us?
Die out slowly.
I didn't know that pandas were aggressive. Like, I know that they're a bear, but I just see them, like, eating bamboo and looking happy.
Dude, you'll ever see these things at zoos. The pandas will break out and just start swatting people and grabbing children and just slamming them down.
It's bad.
Trying to smother them.
Pandas and koalas also very aggressive shit.
Oh, a koala will chew right through a child.
And they have herpes too. I'm not having sex with koalas. This is a fun fact.
You know who does? Australians.
Yep.
Because a lot of them are in the outback and they're very lonely. So
Interesting.
they see a koala. It's almost like a sex doll for them.
Right. It's their version of sheep farmer business.
Chris, would you ever have sex with a sex doll?
Yeah, I'd have sex with a sex doll.
Okay, but like blow up, or are you talking like the ones that are supposed to be like humanoid?
I mean, I think blow up, I'd fucking probably pop it. So I'd prefer like some sort of silicone gel.
Because it's so big.
No, my weight.
Oh, you put the blow up doll on top, Chris.
Oh, I was going missionary with this blow up
Look,
doll.
you should do it with
On
every
top.
woman that you're with. Earl, what about you? You never have sex. Would you have sex with a sex toy?
I would. It would weird me out. It would totally weird me out.
Well,
Because
of course,
it's
because he doesn't even masturbate, so that would be almost. It is masturbation, so you'd be uncomfortable with it.
I would be because you see the eyes, but the eyes aren't doing anything. It'd be like screwing a dead body.
They sell torsos that you can have sex with no head.
Would
No
that
head,
be better
it's
for
just-
you?
Earl, go bang your torso. You're in a bad mood today.
Like as though she's dead, but you chopped her up before you had sex with her. Would that be okay?
The even stranger one is that there's no torso and it's just butt and vagina.
Because that's just too much.
You gotta have some torso here.
Please.
I don't ask for much, but I need a little torso.
Earl, thoughts on a fleshlight, which is,
Yeah,
which is
that's-
just vagina.
Flashlights.
Flashlight. You can be
Again,
playing
it
that
just-
while you're doing it.
It just looks. It would creep me out. It would,
Okay,
Why?
you're just so negative, Earl. You're not with women.
You have to have
That
sex
creeps
with
you out.
something, Earl.
They have fleshlights that are just mouths, too, instead of a vagina.
Would you get the mouth or the vagina? I'm guessing mouth, Earl.
if I had to choose, I'd go vagina.
What do you mean if you have to choose?
I just
Why
said
don't
you
you
did.
just have sex with Why don't you just have sex with a Ricky Henderson sex doll? I know that would get you out quick. You sit around spouting his goddamn records as much as you can. Do you know that he had more stolen bases by the time that he was 25 than Lou Brock did? I'm like, Earl, please. I'm very familiar with Ricky Henderson.
I'm sure they have it. I'm
yeah.
sure they have it.
Oh, I was in a Spencer's Gifts over in Pittsburgh. And the amount,
Wait, they're still around?
they're still around. Half the store is novelty T-shirts. The other half of the store, straight dildos. All sex toys.
Yeah.
And
But they're straight, no curved dildos?
no, this is the thing. There's a huge section of alien dildos.
It's very big. Alien and also like weird things. Like this one is supposed to be a dragon. This one's supposed to be a werewolf. Like,
They're scary.
and they're
Do
like some of
girls
them are based.
fantasize about dragons and werewolves?
I guess they do. I
Some
mean, there
of the-
must be a market for it.
Some of the cosplayers, I think it's mostly
Fantasy?
It's
Yeah.
fantasy and for like OnlyFans girls to like perform with because
And some of the
They
alien
sell them,
ones,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, some of the alien ones have like an egg with goo,
Yeah.
and that it like will deposit a gooey egg in you.
Alien nut.
Why would anybody want that?
I don't know. I don't know.
You're just forcing an immediate cleanup. Earl, would you use that goo in a soup, like a wonton soup? Oh, look at him. He's so grossed out.
Oh,
Little leg drop.
Earl, you don't
ew,
eat,
egg drop.
Earl, you don't eat soup, do you?
Yeah, I love soup.
Do you like
a
egg drop
stew?
soup?
I've never had egg drop soup.
What the hell?
Have you never had egg drop soup? Do you like stews?
Beef stew. Yeah, I like beef stew.
Do you? Why is there another stew that you're willing to walk away from?
No chicken stew.
Do you like a chowder?
No, I do not like chowder.
What?
No. Let me tell you something, and this actually annoys me, and I'm going to just finally say it. So Gail gives us a nice Christmas present, a little dinner to this place, right? Her mom orders the seafood chowder.
Ooh.
I'm like, no, I don't want that. I went for something else. I'm looking over at it. It looks delicious, blah, blah, blah. Finally, I'm like, give me a fucking spoon. This is driving me nuts. I do it. It's not a chowder. It's a bisque.
Ooh.
And
Okay.
I love a bisque. And if
Yeah.
this thing was named properly, I would have been sitting up with a big bowl of that myself.
Right. Because a bisque, what do you think? The chowder is thicker, chunkier than a bisque?
I don't know the differences. I go by taste. And a
Right.
lobster bisque to me is fantastic.
It's so good.
And this was a seafood bisque with all the little pieces of seafood in a bisque. And I'm telling
Yeah.
you, it was fantastic. And this is the other thing that annoys me about it. And this is going to make you mad. So she has this perfect, I mean, the best seafood bisque I can imagine. But she didn't want bread with it, which she could have been sopping up.
You need it.
bisque.
You need a sop.
You gotta stop.
Oh
So I had
my
the worst
God.
dinner of my life.
No.
First
Yeah,
of all, I
because-
didn't get the meal I wanted. And second
Yeah.
of all, I felt like that meal was eaten wrong.
No, I mean, honestly, I would say at least 50% of the pleasure of a good bisque is the sopping up that transpires.
I have the difference between chowder and a bisque.
Love
Please
to hear
do,
it.
Chris. I needed this. I couldn't get it out of my waiter, and I was screaming at him.
God damn it, you should have
I
said
go-
bisque.
What's the word with chowder? You guys don't understand the difference? Which I don't. Go ahead.
So the difference is both thick bisques are pureed. Chowder's straight chunk.
That's it.
Okay, so
I
there
like the
is
puree.
Yeah, the puree. But then there are still chunks within the puree.
Yes, exactly. There's chunks in the
I mean,
puree,
if-
but the liquid.
puree is creamy.
Yes.
Right,
not
it is.
thick.
Yes, and you're right.
When
A chowder
I
is
used to go to
very
the soup Nazi, I was almost 100% of the time lobster bisque.
Delicious.
What about the mulligatawny?
Mulligatawny. Everything in there was great. I mean, that thing wasn't a lie.
It
I
was
didn't get
really
any
good.
I didn't get any shit out of the guy. I didn't get fucking yelled at him. I'd go over that goddamn counter.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed
As soon
serious.
as I heard, yeah. As soon as I heard no, I'd be on him before there was a soup for you. I'd be just across the counter at him.
Hamas loves the soup Nazi. They give him a lot of business.
Okay, I've been asked by several people that we stop using that term. They
Understood.
consider it to be, I think, pro-Zionist.
Understood.
You can use Zionist all you want.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that throw it around like
folks-
nothing.
Those folks are easy to get along with. All right, I will tell you this now. Now, here's the other thing. They don't have the seafood bisque every day. It was a special.
Oh.
So now that's going to haunt me. Like, when
Yeah,
I go
because
back
like
to
if
this
you
place.
go back there, there's no guarantee for the bisque.
You want me to call them every day? I'll find the special.
I don't know if they tell you over the phone.
That's
I mean,
bullshit.
These people,
You
no,
need to
no,
show
no.
up.
That's not bullshit because it's a very small little place, and you can tell that they rule the school. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
They
Mm-hmm.
have their way. I don't need you bugging them every day using my name, and then I can't even get in there for a brunch.
I'll use Earl Douglas's name. I'll say, hi, I'm calling for Earl Douglas. What's the special today?
Earl bans himself from every restaurant.
You know what I love about that place is like, and it makes me feel like I'm now elderly, is that I'm like, not only is the food good, oh my God, the view, the ambiance. It's just a nice vibe in there.
I will say this. I did go to an early dinner, too. I thought it would be better because I could see the view.
Yes.
But also I
And-
could get back in time to watch my shows.
And perfect sunset view. Like it's like that's when I went, I got to see the sunset. It was unbelievable.
All right, Chris, you like shrimp and cocktail sauce, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Gail, shrimp and cocktail sauce?
Yes, please.
Earl, shrimp and cocktail sauce?
Yes.
I know you don't. I know
Just
you're
say
lying.
no. Just say no. I don't. I've
I
never
know
eaten
you're
that.
lying. I know you've never eaten shrimp in your life. So let me ask this. Why aren't we using cocktail sauce with more things? Why is it limited to shrimp?
I can't think of another thing that I have seen cocktail sauce with.
No.
Why is this? And then because it's not, why isn't it just called shrimp sauce? Because you're not serving it with cock.
Right?
Did you ever put it on oysters? I guess that's more like hot sauce.
No, they do hot sauce usually. Oh, wait, maybe some people do, but I would never.
Let me tell you, we got a thing of oysters. Gail's mom was going too fast to enjoy all the oysters. And I ended up giving her my extra oyster.
Wow.
Because I had two, and I looked left, and I looked up, and she was already done. And unlike her, I can't eat oysters when somebody else isn't enjoying themselves.
When you eat oysters, how do you eat it?
I just, out of the shell, shoot it. I don't spend a lot of time. If something comes with it, yeah, I might put it on. I don't need it.
Right.
I don't need it.
I do just squeeze a lemon. I don't want hot sauce or any other thing. Just squeeze a lemon.
What about that? It's called like meunier or something. It's the shallots and vinegar. I fucking
Guess
Oh.
what? I did have that up there because
That-
they served it. And then there was a couple of what I guess were like little, we used to call them Chinese apples. I don't know what they're called now. Pomegranate?
pomegranate.
Pomegranate, yeah.
There was like little, every once in a while, little pomegranate.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
I
kind
like
of fun.
those. That's
Can
beautiful.
I tell you? It was way fun. I was enjoying that.
Yeah.
When Gail's mom hitting them two at a time.
I get it though. Oysters are very exciting. And I have ordered oysters that would be, and I got a Caesar salad and like a family's worth of oysters. And I'm like, no, this is what I want. That's all. I don't want a steak. I want to eat oysters because I couldn't eat that at home. I'm not going to go to the market and shuck oysters. Like it made me, I'm like, I could make a steak. This I don't do.
I don't like a fried oyster either. I just like and it's a living thing. It's still alive when you're eating an oyster.
Yeah.
Now here's the other thing. I never see your mom attack food ever. Right?
Yeah, true.
Fries, pizza, things that people normally attack. But she will attack oysters, and
Yeah.
she will attack a seafood tower.
Yes.
If it's cold seafood,
But every other time, she's like a little bird.
yeah, a little bird.
She's like, I'll have half of a fry. That's perfect for me.
Eaten by the
No
fistful.
cheeseburger, please. She hit that bisque pretty good, but that's my fault. That's something I got to live with.
Yeah, you got to live with it. It's not easy. How was your main, though? Were you happy with your main or you couldn't concentrate because of the bisque?
I was very happy with my main. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't a bisque, was it?
No, it wasn't a bisque.
Ron.
Which was a misnamed bisque. It was called chowder. And I get it. If somebody said, do you want a chowder? I'd probably, especially for your main dish, I would be like, probably not. But a bisque you would. You're right.
I should just kept going with the oysters. Things that you can't get filled up on is oysters and beer.
Oh God, no.
No one ever says I'm so full. You just have to take a piss.
Though the thought of your gut being filled with like, let's say 4 dozen oysters is kind of weird.
Yeah. That starts to make you seem like you're some kind of killer whale.
Am I man
they're
or
killer
orca?
whales, right? Why aren't they attacking people at the beach?
They don't. There has never been, other than the SeaWorld incident. So like one that has been captured and kept in captivity for a very long time. There has never been a report of an orca attacking a human in the wild. Never.
Whoa.
Is that
I know
insane?
from living near SeaWorld that there was an incident where a guy broke into SeaWorld in the middle of the night and he dove into the pool with them. And when everybody showed up, and it was the naked guy that they had just been playing with until he died. I don't even think they were eating him.
No,
I think they just kept playing with him until he died.
I think they dragged him underwater, playing, kicking him around, flipping him back and forth, and he died.
My brother was in the Coast Guard, and he said they're going out. I think it was maybe the San Francisco Bay. I'm not exactly sure where. And he goes, these two, they're hauling ass. And these two killer whales are just swimming along with them, just in front of the boat. And they were chucking a seal back and forth as a game.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's the thing that's weird about them never attacking humans, is that they are just insane predators and super aggressive with the things that they do eat. That it's nuts that people have never been attacked or killed by an orca.
Yeah,
and in fact, they have.
Sharks.
Yes, they can. And here's the weird thing about orcas, okay? So they have pods, and those pods are like kind of regional, right?
Yeah.
So those regions eat what they've learned to eat. So there's ones that eat salmon, and that's like the main base of their diet. Then there's like the seal orcas. It's almost like they're like distant cousins. They're like, ew, I would never eat a seal. I just eat salmon. Then other ones that would eat like a shark, a dolphin, but they wouldn't turn around and eat a seal or a salmon. It's like they have their own cultures and their own languages within those cultures. Dialects, different clicks and sounds that they make are not the same. So they would be like, I kind of understand what you're saying, but you don't have the same dialect as my pod. Is that crazy?
Well, all of it's crazy. The fact that they live without arms and legs is disgusting. But there's this thing, and you can Google it, this pod of killer whales off of Spain that are attacking boats there, right? And not only that, they know that they've got to hit the rudder of the boat, and they will do damage to it, and they hit it one at a time. And I'd be like, I have to get to land this second. I'd be screeching.
Yes.
Get me to land.
And here's the weird thing. So they learn things from each other, and they have almost like trends. So what they think is this first female, who was like the alpha female of this pod, decided for whatever reason that she was going to wreck this boat. And it's almost as they went, oh, we didn't even know we could do that. And by the way, when the people hit the water, they don't eat them or kill them. They do it for the fun of destroying their boat. That's it. And they figured out how to do it fast and efficiently, and they learned from this alpha female. And they even brought up like the way they do this, like almost trends is, so like this would have been like, I don't know, like a decade or two. There was this one pod where this one female started wearing a salmon on her head like a hat, like a dead fish on her head. And then they all went, that's so cool. And they all started doing it. And it lasted for just a season. And they were just like, yeah, we have these dead fish hats. And they would just swim around. And then eventually they're like, you know what? The salmon hat's kind of over. And then they just stopped out of nowhere.
That's so last year.
That's so lame. We're not doing salmon hats anymore.
All right, we got to get ready to wrap this one up because we think we taught you a lot about killer whales, salmon hats, bisque versus chowder, what Earl would have sex with. So far, nothing on the planet Earth.
Maybe a salmon hat.
Get a salmon hat, Earl.
Would you do it, Earl? Would you have sex with a salmon hat?
I'm not going to have sex with a salmon hat.
Okay, not even for the show.
God,
Just bang it.
so selfish sometimes, Earl.
What will you do, Earl, what can we turn around and go, hey, everybody, we're going to take a break for a second because Earl's got something for the show. What would it be, Earl?
I mean, in the show, I would guess I would have to have sex with the salmon hat.
Huh?
Now you turned it
That's
around.
not what he said.
And now you're saying salmon hat.
It's
now
back-
all you bring to the table?
It's just the
Salmon
ability to
hat?
have sex with a salmon hat, which he didn't even mention. Now you're starting to look like someone who's obsessed with having
I'm gonna
sex
say-
with a salmon hat.
This is how
I'm going to
Saltburn
take you
should
up
end it.
on this, Earl. Earl would have drink Saltburn's bathwater.
Yes. Would you do that, Earl? Would you lick someone's dirty bathwater from the drain?
I mean, it's. Oh God! It sounds.
Or would you be too full of toilet water?
Earl, okay, here's the difference. You have to pick between the two. You have to drink the bathwater. And by the way, I don't want to spoil the movie, but someone had just masturbated and said bath. So it was quite dirty
Yeah.
water. So you're either
Yeah,
going
but
to
what's
drink.
their chance of getting some jizz in the
Yeah,
full
it's
tank?
So much
little.
water.
It's probably more
Right
soapy
out the
than
tank.
anything. Okay, so you have to drink that or just a cup full of toilet water. Which would you drink?
They're both disgusting, but give me the toilet water.
Ew! That is
You got it,
so
Earl.
gross. I can't believe
I'm
you.
taking the
went-
cummy water.
Me too.
Here's the thing. Next week, Earl's putting on a salmon hat, and he's going to drink a cup of toilet water. And it's pre-flushed, Earl.
Oh God!
Oh no. I can't believe you picked toilet water. Like that's making me queasy.
I'd be shocked if he didn't. I'd be shocked if he
We didn't even have to ask.
You should get a toilet water enema too. That's meta.
I feel like that could be very dangerous to your health.
The enema?
A toilet water enema? I feel like that has to be, I don't know, purified,
But-
distilled.
Okay, well, hold on. What if it was your toilet water?
Still no.
Why no? Because it's your own insides going back in. You know what I mean?
Insides?
You know,
Inside
That's what you
liquids.
call shit? Your insides?
I just shit out my inside. Don't worry, I do it every day.
Oh, hey, hold on. I got to go take an inside. I'll meet up with you guys later.
My inside is now outside. So I'm ready to go.
That sounds dangerous. All right, we got to wrap this up. I think the fun part of all this is that we not only have a laugh, we learn a thing or two.
Yeah,
And
we've learned a lot.
hopefully, some of these things you can use in an emergency situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like while your friends are panicking, you could be like, hey, hold on. You could also take an enema with toilet water, provided it's your own toilet water. That's your insides.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It's just your inside going home, man.
That's right.
Going home.
That's right. Maybe you didn't want to come out so fast. Maybe you might be in
And
fake a
if-
little more.
If you and your friends are on a boat and you're attacked by orcas, when you guys hit the water, you can be the one saying, don't worry, they won't kill us. They've just wrecked the boat. It's fine.
Cool.
What you could do is, Earl, put on your salmon hat and then dive in there with them as the human orca.
He's one of us.
Gooba gobble, one
The
of
boss.
us. We accept,
accept
you,
you.
Earl
We accept
Douglas.
you.
We accept you. See, that's what I'm trying to say about what you get from the show here. You know?
Yeah.
Info. You get the info, you know? Maybe have a smile or two, you know?
Yeah. I love a smile.
Somebody that you could sit down and eat your lunch you listen to, or smoke a big old fatty.
Yeah.
You know?
Light it
Maybe
up.
you and your wife are ready for a divorce and you listen to us and you're like, you know what? If these guys can make a go of it, why can't we?
I love this, man.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. I think Monday is a holiday.
Yes, it is.
I think it's Christmas.
No, Ron, no, it is not Christmas. It is President's Day.
President's Day. You know, when I was younger, we had Washington's birthday and we had Lincoln's birthday. And at some point, they said, no, that's too many birthdays.
That's weird.
You guys
So
should
all
share
the
a
presidents, all the presidents at the same time.
I'm celebrating Taft.
You know what? And generations from now will start to get it confused, and they're like, they were twins. They were actually twins.
All born on the same day. Isn't that weird? Every president. All right. Stay safe, stay cool. We'll see you after the big President's Day holiday.
They say he didn't have an enemy. His was a greatness to behold. He was the last surviving progeny, the last one on this side of the world. He measured a half-mile from tip to tail, silver and black, with powerful fins. They say he could split a mountain in two. That's how he got the Grand Canyon. Last great American whale. Last great American whale. Last great American whale. Last great American whale. Some say they saw him at the Great Lakes. Some say they saw him off of Florida. My mother said she saw him in Chinatown. But you can't always trust your mother. Off the Carolinas, the sun shines brightly in the day. The lighthouse glows ghostly there at night. The chief of a local tribe had killed a racist mayor's son. He'd been on death row since 1958. The mayor's kid was a rowdy pig. Spit on Indians and lots worse. The old chief buried a hatchet in his head. Life compared to death for him seemed worse. The tribal brothers gathered in the lighthouse to sing and tried to conjure up a storm or rain. The harbor parted, a great whale sprang full up and caused a huge tidal wave. The wave crushed the jail and freed the chief. The tribe let out a roar. The whites were drowned, the browns and reds set free, but sadly one thing more. Some local yokel member of the NRA kept a bazooka in his living room, and thinking he had the chief in his sights, blew the whale's brains out with a lead harpoon. Last great American whale. Last great American whale. Last great American whale. Last great American whale. Well, Americans don't care for much of anything. Land and water the least. And animal life is low on the totem pole. With human life not worth.
Tear up every single time I hear that song. It's like the sweetest song
Of
ever
all
written.
sweethearts. Yeah.
Like about just truly capturing that young love feel, like a love song written from the perspective of a child, and it's so crushing and sweet.
I've asked his family, and maybe it's too young, that when Willie passes away, could I sing that over his open grave? Candy heart. Our Willie had a candy heart.
Oh no! Never
It's so sad that we had to part.
No, Willie, never.
Won't you please come back to me? Ponytail.
Yes.
We never knew when we'd find your ponytail. That song it's better than most rom-coms.
It's true.
You know, I was thinking about this. We have rom-coms and what are called romantic movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you know the difference, Gail, so I'm going to ask Chris first. What is the difference between a romantic movie and a rom-com?
A romantic movie, there's no real comedic elements, and whereas it's just,
never mind.
There's no
just
calm.
drama.
Never mind. Earl, what's the difference?
I think setting is a big part.
Setting.
It's stupider than what I said.
But
The difference is
rom-com
this:
needs to be a
romantic.
gallons.
Yeah, rom-coms and happy, romantic movies and sad.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Like Casablanca is one of the great romantic movies because they're not together.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not together.
And
Steel
I think,
Magnolias, romantic, yes. Heartbreaking, yes.
and if there's usually more emphasis on the star-crossed lover element. that
Exactly.
There's a reason they can't be together. There's a reason that they're so different, but they're pulled together, but they can't be together. And
And
that
this
makes it-
one, The Notebook, where you've just lived so long, you've made it past happily ever after.
right.
You know what I mean?
Because it does end sad.
If any movie just keeps going, it will end sad.
Right. They stay
No matter.
together, and eventually one of them dies. So it is a sad ending.
One of them doesn't know who the other one is, and has to
Right.
be told every day.
So that's the problem with The Notebook, is just you ended too long. Just have ended it when they got
Yeah.
together officially.
Yeah, when they got their first house and they were so happy. And the end.
I
Now-
feel like I like a romance movie
Yeah.
to be a period piece, and I like
Really?
a rom-com to take place in present day.
It doesn't make sense to have a rom-com if it's not in present day, that's for sure.
Right, because we
You
know
know.
comedically they didn't share our humor, no matter what time period. Like things used to just be very punny, and they thought that was wit. And you're just like, I guess that's funny.
I put some shit under her door. And perhaps when she wakes up in the morning, she'll smell it. But you know what was so cute about Earl saying setting? You know that's how he got away with stuff in school. The setting
So good.
and the theme.
Yeah,
The theme
I was a
and the
big
setting.
fan of that.
Very
Yeah.
good, Mr. Douglas.
That's why I did well on essays. I go, if I just keep talking, they're going to think I care.
Earl, you have a funny thing for radio where you want to be right instead of be funny. Mm-hmm. What if you would have just said, the difference is that romantic movies, the girls have bigger breasts.
Oh my God. If you would have said that, I'd have died.
Everybody's like, that fucking Earl, man. He's right there.
He crushed
Right
it.
there all the time.
Although I do like a nice set of tits in a corset. I mean, it's a good look.
Oh,
Sexy.
and I understand
men
it's
don't-
uncomfortable, but I don't care.
Yeah. I almost don't either. I go, if they're going to look this good, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
But do men find any period piece, romantic period piece,
Gladiators.
sexy or attractive or...
Yeah. I think they like the idea of anything where whorehouses were openly,
Okay.
you know.
So more emphasis on the sex, less on the romance.
There
But
should
yeah,
be a
well, we
romantic
don't know.
pirate movie.
Right. Whereas, like,
You're
women...
saying there's never been a romantic pirate movie?
Not that I can think of.
Isn't there like a romantic connection in the Pirates of the Caribbean? Don't they have
All of them, because you have to show that the pirates aren't gay.
right?
You know
It's
what
not
I
a
mean?
romance.
'Cause you know
Captain
they were.
Blood, Captain Blood forward. Earl Flynn always had a woman somewhere who
Right.
didn't like him and then did.
But it's got to be prison rules out on the sea, right? I mean,
Well, the
they were
Greeks
out there
have
for
taught us that.
they were out there for a long time.
Boo, can't you see? Honestly, the thing about the Pirates of the Caribbean movies that I hated was when they got into the fantasy. I think pure pirate is plenty for me. You know?
Yeah,
I don't
that's
need
thrill
anything
enough.
fake.
Just give me Blackbeard. That guy tore it up.
And like, I think I only saw the first pirate movie. Was
They're
it like
indistinguishable.
zombies
You saw
or
plenty.
something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you saw plenty. You saw the OG.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to give you one, Gail. And I only found this out myself. So Gasparilla Day in Florida,
I do.
Tampa. It's a very, very big holiday. The pirate comes in, he takes over. It's the famous Jose Gaspar, and the mayor has to sign over the city